action.
All right, so I put this presentation together just to kind of guide you through the footsteps of the summer that I took as an intern here at Epsilon. Well, most of you know me, but Alexander Musgrove, and I was an HR intern from the months of May till the end of August, until tomorrow. And I live in Milton, which is about an hour drive away from here every day, so I drive up. And I go to UBC, which Bill just found out today, out in Vancouver in Canada. And I was in an a cappella group there my first 2 years. So I decided to share a little bit of my talent and bring in my guitar and sing a little parody song of what I and probably most college students think of a typical internship before they actually have the internship. So this is just, it's only partly true. And it's to the song that Kathy and Sarah inspired me when we watched that YouTube video of the song Brood that one time. So that goes along with this. Monday morning, jumped out of bed to put on my best suit. Hopped in my car and raced like a jet all the way from Milton. Knocked on your door with pens in my hand to start as an intern. 'Cause I heard that Dave's a really cool man. Yeah, woke up really early for this intern job, HR intern, 'cause that's what I love. To say I'll always be an intern till the day I die. Tough luck, my friends, but the answer is no. What you gonna make me do? All the things that you don't want to. What you gonna make me do? I'll do your paperwork anyway. Stack so high, can't see the end of day. Intern life, and no matter what you say, stack so high, making PowerPoints every day. What you gonna make me do? All the things that you don't want to. What you gonna make me do? I'll do your paperwork anyway. Stack so high, can't see the end of day. Intern life, no matter what you say. Stack so high, making PowerPoints every day. What you gonna make me do? Internship this week, that is definitely not what an intern does. Some of it is true. You make us do what you don't want to, but it's not completely true. So let's look over some of the projects that I did here at Epsilon. First, when I came in, we looked over the mid-year review process. So Sarah and I put together this big training that was going to go through to all the associates, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And then we proceeded on to do the associate survey, and then the restructuring project and summer of service. I think the hardest part of all of these projects is that they coincided and overlapped, which was very difficult to manage, but at the same time, the satisfaction of completing them and the challenge was quite an accomplishment, I think, after getting through them all. So the first project was the mid-year review project. So I like to kind of sum it up in 4 action words that, that I thought took place through this project. First of all was communication strategies. Sarah and I worked really hard to put together a communication strategy which I didn't think was at first very useful, but going through the mid-year review process I realized that it was crucial and that without it we definitely would have failed. So then the next point was to train and create those trainings, which needed a lot of brainstorming, and then following into the implementation of doing a live webinar to, I think over the 2 live webinars that we did, we had over 700 associates tune in. So that was a really nerve-wracking presentation, even being behind the screen, but it definitely was a satisfying feeling after we finished it. And then the 4th strong word that I have is impact. After we implemented these trainings, I hope that it impacted at least some of the population of Epsilon. I know it definitely didn't reach everybody, but I hope that it impacted at least some of them and helped them move forward in their professional development. So next I want to talk about a little bit about the tools that we used in the mid-year review. So the first thing you see here is the career destination, so the new page that we put up, and I think the new page that Sarah designed. And then the one just below it that says financial, service, and people, it's people and innovation. Those are just some methods of how people could construct their goals to have for the best and most effective outcomes. And you see this lady over here who's very flawless. Don't hide your flaws. One of the things that we taught our associates is that you want to be visible to your peers, to your managers, so that they can critique you and help you in your professional development. And the more visible that you make yourself, the more progression you're going to make in your career. And then thirdly, we have how to make a SMART goal. So making a goal specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And then how are you going to take that goal to really make it concrete, present your conflict, action, the resolutions, and your solution, or your so what. What does it mean to have that SMART car goal? And that was just a little bit about the mid-year review process that we did. And then we went on, simultaneously started the associate survey as the mid-year review was running. And for this, I drafted and distributed a lot of the communications, especially to you guys, the HR team, which I'm so thankful that you were so helpful and cooperative with me to really pass this along to your managers and get them to encourage their associates to fill out the survey, and that boosted up not quite a high percentage from last year, but definitely an increase with the mid-year review going on, and then the restructuring project, which was another reoccurring, sorry, not reoccurring, but coinciding project. And in this project, I learned how HR processes happen, whether it's on the legal side, protecting associate confidentiality, how severance agreements work, all the work that Courtney put in, like getting the PTO, getting their severance, and putting all those together. And then we also took part in the organization and the execution of the restructure. And there was one night specifically where myself, Paige, Courtney, and Sarah stayed till 10 p.m. and Sarah kept apologizing on how horrible that night was, and it's not typical of an intern to stay past work hours, but it was definitely one of the most memorable nights I've had in this internship, because Paige and Courtney would come running over to my cube and they'd say, okay, we're all hands on deck, what do you need us to do? And then I would guide them through the process that I was doing, and then once we'd finished that, we'd turn to Paige and say, okay, Paige, what do you need us to do? And it didn't matter, whether Sarah's the director, I'm the intern, Paige is the generals, it didn't matter what our level was, we were all working together, and by the end of the night, we'd all gotten it done, and it was just a great feeling of teamwork, which was really awesome. And then the fourth project that I worked on was the Summer of Service project. You can see here there's a bunch of pictures that I just pulled from different teams contributing to the service. And I was the single point for contact for telling all the points, hundreds and hundreds of emails, pictures, but it was definitely worth it. It was a great experience. This year we also redesigned a little bit the giving back posters. So we decided to take pictures of our actual associates at Epsilon instead of these random Google people, and put them on the poster for a change and let them see themselves actually giving back. So I think next year Bill and Venetia are thinking of designing this even further and making social media through InView and creating Facebook conversations and really bringing that to the next level. A little Summer of Service project that I took part of was the Intern project, taking some service action at one of our local YMCA's. We cleaned a really gross barn at a kids' summer camp, but it was really fun and they were extremely thankful, so it was definitely worth that experience. From all of these projects, I learned an amazing amount of things. Some are a little bit, you can see they're a little bit bigger than others. Those I just felt like I grew more in those areas, but definitely everything on that page is something that I'm continuing to develop, and Epsilon just kind of gave me that step up in my confidence, and through all of these things I definitely learned how to challenge myself and make sure that I'm not too comfortable in my position and constantly working and pushing myself forward. And the top 3 things that I did learn were interpersonal development, communication is key, and teamwork. For interpersonal development, Dave Lucy, you taught me a lot about that, and so did Ed Heffernan. We had a new grad and intern call with him, and he said to make sure that you branch across your organization and don't just go up. Don't just try and make connections with, the CEO, CFO. Talk to your peers and really get to know them, because those are the people that you're going to make connections with for the rest of your life, within and outside of Epsilon. And then Dave Lucy, you always come out of your office and you say, well, this is my half hour to talk to people and get my relationship building going, and even though it might seem silly, I really admire that. And then secondly, communication is key. Sarah, with those communication strategies that we put together, that really taught me that you need to get everybody on board. And even as a millennial, I know it's hard to pick up the phone, but I've learned to just pick it up, talk to the people, and get your message across so that everybody can be on the same page and you can really function as a team, which goes to my third one, teamwork. Together, everyone achieves more. And I definitely could not have achieved everything that I did here this summer without you guys. So I really am appreciative of that. I don't even know what to say. Like, there's words can't explain. Jane Houston, Paige and Courtney, Tarna, Kathy, my A team, Stephanie, the recruitment team, Christine, who's not here, Bill, and even the interns taught me a lot. Dave and Chris, best buddies for life. And Sarah, you're the mother of the year no matter what. And just because this is the end of my internship, this is the beginning of a new race. This is definitely a new beginning, and I'm excited to move forward, and the least I can say is thank you.
Great. Awesome.